Good Sunday morning and welcome to Inside Tennessee. I'm your moderator, John Becker. Our guest this morning, perhaps the most powerful man in the legislature in decades. He has been there for 42 years. First elected in 1979, a pharmacist by trade. Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally represents Oak Ridge, and he is with us this morning. Governor, great to see you once again. Just above him on your screen is Eddie Smith, a former state representative, a Republican from Knoxville. Above him is Don Bosch, who's a Democrat and also runs his own law firm. It's great to have all of you with us. Lieutenant Governor, let me start with this. We asked your colleague Cameron Sexton in the House what he thought was the most important issue besides balancing the budget, which is you're constitutionally mandated to do. What is the issue that will dominate this session?
Well, it's great working with Cameron Sexton. He came in at a very difficult time in the House. And I think he did a lot to clean up what was going on over there. But probably the two issues that we'll face in state government will be the redistricting, which occurs once every 10 years usually, and also the other being the improvements in education, the BEP formula. Probably there'll be major changes in it, as well as improvements in higher education.
Let's start with BEP and education. For our viewers who don't know, the state receives money from various counties, and then that money is redistributed back to rural and urban counties and districts across the state. So let's make it simple because it's going to get complex. We know the debate will drag on for weeks. But Governor, if you look at this dollar, let's say this dollar is what is going to Knox County schools right now from the state. When we end this debate, do you think this will be more or less than the dollar that's going to Knox County now? And then we'll talk about a rural district next.
Well, I think it more, it might be $1.10, something like that. But as a percentage of the overall funding, it might be about the same, or maybe even a little bit less.
And how about if you're a rural county like Union County, do you think that dollar will be different, more or less?
And I'd have to assume that, of course, there'd be a lot of families that are poorer. The average income in Union County or a rural county would be much lower. So I think it would be maybe $1.15, something like that. But it would be, and those are just arbitrary figures, but it'd probably be, as a percentage, would be more.
We appreciate you. We know it's a crystal ball situation, so Lieutenant Governor, thank you for doing that for us. Don, your question.
Sure. Well, let's stay on education for a minute, Randy. Why is there a need to change the current formula, the BEP formula as it's known, to something new? Because it seems like about every, 5 or 10 years, we blow up the funding formula. And whatever happens, there's a group that complains and another group that feels a little better. But why do we think we need to change it now?
Well, I've been through about 4 changes. First with Governor Alexander, Governor McWhorter, Governor Bredesen. I think as we examine the results that are produced in education, it just necessitates changes. And also, we probably can better understand some of the economic dynamics of the different counties.
So I guess staying on that, it seems to me that the thing that really changes in education is the technology available. And of course, through the pandemic, we've all, over the last 2 years, we've had to see how online learning has transformed and how even children as young as kindergarten have had to do things from home and online. Is there real thought, though, to making sure that through our state, where there are big swaths of it that are still without broadband, wireless internet, of really improving that infrastructure? I know the Republicans historically have not supported, for example, President Biden's Build Back Better and his agenda to build infrastructure that includes broadband. But what are we doing as a state? Because that really seems to be maybe the main area where we can make a leap and a bound in these rural counties.
And the state has put significant dollars in the development of broadband where it isn't available. And I think with the money coming in from the federal government, I think we should be able to pretty well cover the state with broadband.
Eddie?
Thank you. And Lieutenant Governor, it's great to see you. My question really kind of goes back to the BEP because for the viewers at home to understand, there were not pending lawsuits, but past lawsuits, especially the small schools lawsuit, that really defined equitable funding across the education that the BEP has recognized. So how are you all taking all of those considerations in to make sure that we continue so we don't end up in another small schools and large schools lawsuit, kind of like what we've seen in the last couple of years?
Well, the two factors that they sue on is the equity and the second one, which is coming more recently, is the adequacy of funding. Is the state adequately providing enough money to the cities and counties, and are the cities and counties in turn receiving adequate funds? So those are the two main areas that happen, and I think you will see significant dollars added in the budget for education.
Eddie, any follow-up on that?
The other thing, well, one of the other things is, Knox County, much like Sevier County, Davidson, Memphis, have been what's called donor counties. So what do you see changing as it relates to like the larger counties that are donor counties? How do you see that changing in the future for the benefit of Knox County and the students here in Knox County specifically?
Well, I mean, the existing formula would require us to put in approximately $90 million this year just due to inflation. And I think you'll see significantly more money coming in. You do see certain counties providing more sales tax revenue and other counties that receive more in benefits, but it's simply due to the economic differences between the two counties. If you look at the fiscal capacity models, you'll see that Union County's fiscal capacity, their ability to raise funds locally, is much lower than Knox County, for example.
We're going to take a quick break on Inside Tennessee. We'll come back with our conversation and talk about redistricting when we're back on this Sunday morning.